So Heath, you seem to have this leveling up of a more, I would describe, accurate contextualizing of this campaign, particularly her opponent, by noting Donald Trump is not fit for office, and taking that message now to the blue wall states to hold on to those, those three important ones: Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. How do you assess this effort at this point, and what else do you think the campaign could be doing, particularly given that there's still some softness out there among certain groups of voters that she's going to need in November? But this framing seemingly has grabbed the attention of a number of folks out there.
Look, I think she's doing everything that she needs to be doing here in this home stretch. I mean, she needs to be out on the road making the case to voters. She was in Arizona, at a Republicans for Harris event. She's had these events where she's reaching out to middle-of-the-road voters, voters who maybe have historically voted Republican, voters, suburban voters that maybe voted for Nikki Haley, who she's going to need to bring into the tent to get those last few percentage points to put her over the line in these swing states. So I think she's making the case. I think the framing that she is teeing up between competence and seriousness and unseriousness is a good one. And I think that will be a compelling closing argument to swing state voters down the final stretch.
And I think that question about competence is part of the reason that pushing for the release of the medical records makes sense. It's not actually about, voters predicating their decision perhaps specifically on this, though it does underscore that he will, of course, be the oldest person to be the president of the United States. It does underscore some of the nuttiness that we are watching at the rallies where he is incoherent. I also, though, Leah, think it underscores just the lack of transparency in this administration around his health records, around his tax records, around who it is that Donald Trump is actually beholden to. And so if you're making a decision about who you want in a time of crisis, that lack of transparency becomes a crisis unto itself.
That's exactly right. He's making this about trust, and that we should be able to trust him, and that we shouldn't be able to trust Kamala Harris. And yet, the complete lack of transparency. Release the records. You said you're going to release the records. He's telling us this, but then the records never come. And that extends from his health to his taxes, to his finances. He keeps telling, oh, yes, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, but then it never gets done. So if he can't be transparent about this basic thing, you had a physical, you said you're going to tell us what it said, tell us what it said. If you can't do that, then how do we trust you on the economy? How do we trust you on keeping America safe? How can we trust anything you say if you can't handle just this basic small thing?
This makes me think of Ronnie Jackson, now Congressman Jackson. In 2018, John Karl asked him this question at the White House press briefing in January 2018. Take a listen to this.
Can you explain to me how a guy who eats McDonald's and fried chicks and all those Diet Cokes and who never exercises is in as good a shape as you say he's in?
It's called genetics. I don't know. It's some people have, just great genes. I told the president that if he had a healthier diet over the last 20 years, he might live to be 200 years old.
Donald Trump has also been talking about genetics lately, the good genes and the bad genes that apparently some immigrants that have come to this country. Look, Heath, I don't think we're ever going to see Donald Trump's medical records this cycle. That does not mean people should not stop asking for them right up until and through Election Day. But how do you think this plays with, there are folks out there in the electorate that say, I don't know if I don't like all the craziness with Donald Trump, but I feel like the economy is good, or was good under him, even though Barack Obama just told us it was his economy. Or I feel like, I don't know if Kamala Harris can lead. And if it feels like I'm mocking the people saying this, because I am.
Look, I don't know. I mean, I'm hard-pressed to understand what he is thinking at any given moment. I think these comments about genes and fitness and we need the right kind of people in this country are going to turn off swing voters and turn off people who are going to ultimately decide this election. Look, I mean, this is just un-American language, right? I mean, when you come to this country, no matter what your genes are, you have the same blessings of liberty and the opportunity to succeed as anyone and everyone else. That has been a bedrock, foundational American principle. And for him to be out there on the campaign trail every day, sort of laying waste to that idea and questioning that principle, he can do that if that's what he believes and that's what he feels. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to pay off with the American voter.
So, Leah, let's talk numbers. Let's get into some numbers in the morning, because there's some good numbers out here for the vice president and her effort. I mean, you're looking at the fact that you've got some polling out of Arizona and Pennsylvania. New York Times Siena poll coming out yesterday, showing Harris, 46-51 Trump in Arizona, Pennsylvania, 50-47. What that speaks to is the closeness and the tightness of this race. Now, there are a lot of us who believe it shouldn't be this close. But OK, we set that aside. The fact that you have, the vice president who was, did the switch and had 105 days to run a campaign, has now raised $1 billion, has moved this race where Donald Trump in national polling was up by 6-7 points to a tightness. And again, these numbers, even in places like Arizona, fluctuate. Tomorrow she could be up by 2. What does that tell you about where this electorate is? Yes, it's close, but beneath that, there are a lot of voters that aren't getting reflected in these polls, right? You know that from your work inside the DNC, how this plays out. Talk to us about the rest of the electorate that's actually voting right now, will be voting on Election Day, that pollsters don't necessarily capture because they just registered last week.
Yeah, so you have record voter registration happening across the country, and that's been happening since the switch. And those folks are not captured by pollsters. Also, I don't know about you, but as I talk to my friends, I don't know a single person who's ever been talked to by a pollster. So there are large swaths of the electorate, I think, that just aren't captured in these numbers. What we see, though, as you note the trends, is that President Trump's numbers pretty much stay the same, 46, 47, 48.
That's
I think he's pretty much maxed out. And I think Kamala Harris still has room to grow. There is a portion of the electorate that's undecided. I don't know who these people are, and I don't know why they're undecided. But she has room to grow in a way that I think he's maxed out on his numbers. And so it's only up from here, but it is tight, it is close. Every vote counts, and it speaks to the way that the Harris campaign is executing its plan right now. We've got President Obama out this weekend, we've got President Clinton out this weekend, we've got the Vice President and Tim Walz out, as they should be, going every place they can go, reaching every voter they can reach. And this is a battle for every vote. Every vote counts. And you see that in the execution of their plan.
I just want to sneak in a quick question before we go to a break, and we can continue talking about it on the other side, which is people are voting now, right? So early voting already underway in Arizona. It begins Tuesday in Georgia, Thursday in North Carolina, Saturday, Nevada. I mean, as Juanita Tolliver reminded us yesterday, Election Day is the last day to vote.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's happening right now. People are making their decisions. They're going to the polls. They're getting their ballots in the mail, and they're sending them in. I mean, the election is happening now. So the fact that the candidates are on the road in these states making these cases directly to voters, it's going to matter. And those turnout operations in each of the key states, those are going to matter, too.
And I'd say Minnesota started voting September 20th.
Well, they were not on my list, and I am very upset about that.
And Dems abroad started voting.
Correct. We were talking about them yesterday.
Yeah. The people are voting. Souls to the polls. It's Sunday. Bishop, I know you were very involved in this effort. More than 60 years, Black churches, they have been critical, and people are voting right now, as Alicia continues to remind us. It makes a difference.
Yes, makes a big difference. So Heath and Leah, stay with us, because we next want to shift to talk about souls. We want to talk about the fact that J.D. Vance's refusal to admit Donald Trump lost the 2020 election still plagues my soul. I don't know about the rest of y'all. And later, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell on the vice president's fight for that must-win Michigan state. We're going to get into that because you're watching The Weekend right here on MSNBC.
Porque sé que me prefieres. Te vi toda la semana, pero vámonos de party los weekendes. Yo sé que te conto.
When your bedroom has everything you need, it's okay to give everything else a rest. Welcome to the Good Night Club. Find your dream bedroom at IKEA.
We've been wanting to frame this photo for like 5 months.
It took me 5 minutes to order.
Not bad, right?
If you have a special photo you want framed,
you have to check out the Keepsake app.
The Keepsake Frames app is amazing. You can print and frame photos directly from your phone. It was so easy.
You just choose a photo, pick a frame,
and after a few days, it's at your doorstep, ready to hang.
Wow, so cute.
Nice. If you have a photo you want framed, you gotta check out the Keepsake app.
It's actually really fun.
More time or more money for your small business? Choose Gusto and get both. Businesses everywhere are turning to Gusto for payroll, benefits, and more. Save time by paying your team in minutes, not hours. And get your taxes filed automatically. Save money. Businesses who switch to Gusto save over $1,000 a year. We never charge for extra payroll runs, and plans start at just $46 a month. Join 300,000 businesses already on Gusto at gusto.com.
It was very important for me to have a therapist who could understand relationships, traumas, the LGBTQ community, and someone who was also a person of color.
I tend to deal with things in life with a sense of humor. My therapist on BetterHelp and we share this trait, and so we connect on a deeper level, and I'm more comfortable sharing things with him.
I am just so much more like in tune with myself, being able to talk to my therapist.
Not you again. I can't talk to a doctor about this. It's embarrassing. ZocDoc? You're right. I bet they deal with this all the time. What about Dr. Anderson? Okay. Dr. Finley really puts you at ease. And she takes my insurance too. Let's do it.
You've got more options than you know. Book now.
I'm gonna miss you too.
You prepare for the unexpected. So do we. Our workwear is built with durable water-resistant technology, so moisture, dirt, and grease don't stick around. We offer unsurpassed comfort and mobility, so you can be as versatile as our specialty performance fabrics. Our integrated workwear systems mean a sudden change in the weather doesn't change a thing. And we're meticulous, down to our intelligent pocket design, so you can work smart. Work wonders. True work.
The Cuisinart Air Fryer Toaster Oven can air fry, toast, bake, grill, and broil. So you can break up with your oven. It's a work of Cuisinart.
Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, and yet J.D. Vance has refused to admit it. He had 5 chances. I said 5. Yes, 5 chances during an interview. The New York Times this week, but he refused 5 times to admit it.
Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?